So if you're out fishing in July and you're coming up short, catching a lot of dinks, what a lot of anglers miss is that with the heat of summer and with a lot of anglers fishing, this changes bass behavior. And with that bass behavior change should come a lure selection change from you. So let me walk you through 3 baits that absolutely slay big bass this July. Lure number 1 is going to be this guy right here. This is going to be the buzz bait. This is going to be aggression by vibration. This is going to spin as you're pulling this through the water. This is from Brazalo Lures. I got this in my Dark Horse tackle box. And so in this one, it's actually designed to hit that metal bead and make some more sound. But as this comes through the water, it's gonna go pop, 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 and it's gonna activate that lateral line. And these are especially great in low light. So fishing early in the morning or in the evening as the sun is going down, man, these are excellent baits to have tied on. So the places I'm gonna be fishing the buzz bait next to wood, next to grass lines, next to lily pads, and in that shallow water. When you throw this out, don't let it sink a whole lot. It's gonna take a while to get this back up to the surface and you can get it activated. So get ready to start moving this right away and just start moving through the water. And what I like to do is get the turn just enough. This is a pop, 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 pop. Not too fast, not too slow, just enough to keep the blades turning. All right, so my gear set up. This is going to be a 7.2 to 7.6 medium heavy powered fast action rod in order to control that fish and pin it. So when it comes to your gear ratio, you're going to want that pick up line fast, right? Because you got to keep this blade moving. So you're going to want a gear ratio around 7:1 to 8:1. When it comes to line, you're going to want to use, ooh, it's got a hit over here. Let me see if I can get him. I have to. Nope, nope, nope. Gave her a try. All right, so when it comes to the line, you're gonna want a line that floats, right? So that knocks out fluorocarbon. It's gonna pull your lure down. That's not what you want. It's gonna be hard to get this blade moving. So typically what you're going to want to use is braid. That range is probably gonna be between 30 to 40 pound braid is what you're gonna wanna use. I use 30 pound braid for my buzz baits. All right, let's move on to lure number 2. Fishing it this morning. It's gonna be right here. It's gonna be your Topwater frog. See, it's got a little frog fur on there to kind of get the grittiness of their teeth caught in that. And so all kinds of unique. And on the bottom, you can see it has an eye like a fish. So all kinds of things going on with this frog right here. In the heat of July, a lot of those bass will get tucked under those lily pads. And so in order to draw them out, you're going to need some type of topwater frog. And that kind of walking the dog action back to you is going to do the trick. It's going to get bit. And so you got to be a little bit more patient with the frog. You typically get less bites with the frog than a lot of other things that you could be fishing. But nonetheless, a lot of times that topwater blow up is just so incredibly addicting. Fishing the frog becomes sometimes a lot of individuals' favorite way to fish. All right, you'd be surprised what bass will jump out of in order to get that frog. So where you're gonna wanna fish it, that matted vegetation, those lily pads. You can fish this in the shallow grass flats, those reed lines, the pencil grass, overhanging trees, throw it under docks, skip it under docks, pull that, walk it through. And a lot of times what I'll throw out a frog is those backwater pockets. A lot of times they get underfished. And so throwing a frog deep back in that pocket where a lot of anglers kind of give up on or boats don't wanna go back into, that's a really great place to be throwing a frog. And usually the frogs only come out for me in early morning and evening. So I typically won't be bringing out a frog midday. I know you can catch them midday, but typically I'm only bringing this bad boy out in the morning on those low light scenarios. All right, rod reel setup. It's going to be a 7.3 to 7.6. This is going to be a heavy powered fast action rod. I'm going to want a lot of backbone in order to set the hook, or sometimes you'll get both hook sets in the roof of their mouth, and that takes a lot of power in order to do that. And so a lot of times why you see those crazy hook sets from a lot of anglers out there, because they're trying to double penetrate these hooks into a bass's mouth. And so you're gonna need a lot of power, you need a lot of strength, especially if you get that bass and it dives right back into that mess of a salad. So I'm gonna have 50 to 65 pound braid in order to cut anything that's around me in order to get that bass up and out. So if you're new to frog fishing, here is a tip. So a lot of times, a lot of individuals, a lot of anglers will miss their hook sets on a frog because they're hook setting too early. You gotta understand that the human response time is 200 milliseconds, right? That is not enough time for bass to come out, grab a frog, pull it down, move it around, separate all of everything else it ate while it's getting that frog, turn that frog around and get ready to swallow it. Now that doesn't take a whole lot of time for a bass to do, but it takes more than 200 milliseconds to do. So what I like to do for a hook set is give it a 1/1000, 2/1000, and then set the hook. A lot of time it's going to give that bass enough time to suck that lure deeper into its mouth, and so you can get that proper hook set. All right, so really quick, especially if you're like still goofing around with lures, not quite sure what to throw for the lake that you are fishing, I recommend the Deep Dive app. And so what you can do in this app is put in the lake that you are actually fishing, a bunch of information about that, and it's going to spit out a variety of lures that is going to be great for this time of the year for that body of water. And so for instance, let's hop on the first one. This is going to be a walking topwater bait. It's going to show you the location where you should fish it. It's going to show you the cover where you should fish this, the structure, and kind of what it looks like and how it's set up in your body of water. And if you're not quite sure how to retrieve that lure, it has a video in there. It's going to show you how to retrieve it. And then the gear ratio. It's going to show you the rod, the type, the length, the action, the power. It's going to give you everything you need in order to be successful out there on the water. Now, there's a lot of other things in this app. Of course, there's the weather. I use the weather app a lot as well. It's going to show me the feeding times. But nonetheless, check out the Deep Dive app. It has helped me a whole lot. I know it's helped a lot of other anglers that I hear from as well. And so I will throw the link to the Deep Dive app in the first comment of this video. You guys can check that out. All right, now for the third Topwater lure for July. And well, it's going to be the one that the Deep Dive app just recommended. This is going to be the walking bait. This guy right here. So if you love that open water, topwater blow up, the walking bait's going to get that for you. It's got a nice knock to it, and bass really can't resist that zigzag action through that water, that walk the dog action, especially when bass are chasing shad around those points, around those flats, along that riprap. So that's where you're going to want to throw this. If you see open water blow-ups, you see bass hitting the surface, break out the walking bait. Grass edges, docks, riprap, shallow points, shallow flats, that's where you're going to want to be fishing the walking bait. All right, so when it comes to the setup for the walking bait, I'm going to use anywhere from a 6'10" to a 7'2" length rod. It's going to be a medium powered rod for those finesse walkers, a medium heavy for those heavier walkers. When it comes to the line, it's going to be around 30-pound braid. But if you're doing short casts, you can use mono, right? It floats. You can use anywhere from 12 to 15-pound mono, but I would avoid fluorocarbon because that is going to pull that bait down, because fluorocarbon is going to sink on you. So it's not what you want for the walking bait. When it comes to the reel gear ratio, I'm going to use a 7:1 I'm going to want to pick up line moderately fast. All right, so the next time you're on the water, the buzz bait, the frog, the walking bait, I showed you how to fish them, where to fish them, how to rig them to have success out there on the water. And you can go from being a fisherman to a catcherman. So if you want to know non-topwater lures that are cheat code for July bass, I got that video for you. You can check that out right there. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you.